The soft jiggling sound of a bangle echoed in the hall as Vayan adjusted the dupatta over her head. The mirror reflected a nervous yet glowing version of her. Today was the day her family had chosen for her official engagement ceremony. Her father had been smiling since morning. After all, it was not just a marriage, it was the union of two old friend families. The boy was none other than her childhood friend, someone who had always been around her, protecting her, supporting her, and unknowingly stealing little part of her heart. Why? And her mother's voice broke her thought. Hurry up, everyone is waiting. She stepped into the decorated hall, her fiancé-to-be standing tall in a cream sherwani. The young smiled softly, the same smile that had always comforted her during school exam, fight with friends, and a rainy days when she cried for no reasons. Her heart fluttered, but she knew it was just a crush, safe, sweet, and innocent, not love. As the kiss clapped, ringing was exchanged, the atmosphere was filled with laughter, blessing, and promises. But outside the hall, under the shadow of a large tree, a pair of dark eyes were fixed on her, John Jungkook. The world knew him as a global idol. People adore his smile, his music, his charm. But right now he was not smiling his jaw clenched as he was laughing with another man. It was not the first time he had seen her. He had noticed her week ago when she bent down to help an old woman pick up her fallen vegetable in the busy market. When she gave her shawl to a shivering beggar child on a cold night, something about her kindness had burned a hole in his chest. It was not just admiration, it was possession. And tonight, watching her with that ring on her finger, something inside him snapped. She is mine. She doesn't even know it yet, but she is mine. Jungkook muttered under his breath, his fist tightening in his pocket. The engagement ended with cheerful music, but for Jungkook, it was the beginning of obsession. The day after the engagement passed in a blur for Vi, and her phone kept buzzing with messages from relatives. Her house was crowded with guests and every corner was filled with the wedding preparation. She smiled, thought it all, but somewhere deep inside she felt a strange emptiness. She told herself it was just nerves. After all, marriage was a huge step. Maybe it was natural to feel like this. What she didn't know was that someone else had eyes on her continuously, John Jungkook. He was no longer just the idol she had once admired on posters and songs. He had turned into her silent shadow. His black car often stood at a distance from her house, tinted windows hiding his sharp gaze. At night, when everyone in her family slept peacefully, Jungkook scrolled through the picture his man had taken of her walking home from college, buying vegetables with her mother, feeding stray dog. Every little thing about her became a piece of obsession in his mind. She doesn't even realize how precious she is, he whispered to himself, leaning back in his car. That boy, her so called fiance, he can never love her the way I will. He will never worship her the way I do. The more he saw her, the more restless he became. Time skip. When Vayan went to the temple to pray, Jungkook stood for behind, his hand folded not in devotion to God but to her. When she laughed with her friend, Jungkook's lips curved into a dangerous smile. That laugh, he wanted to own it, to hear it only for him. But when he saw her fiance hold the umbrella for her during a sudden drizzle, something in his chest burned like fire. His knuckles turned white as he clenched his fist. She's not his, Jungkook muttered, his voice low and deadly. She was never meant for him. Destiny brought her into my sight, and destiny doesn't make mistake. That night he stood on the balcony of his penthouse, the city lights glowing beneath him. His phone buzzed with a message from one of his men informing him about another government deal, but his mind was not on his work. All he could see was her vision, and all he could think was one thing: soon she will be mine. The house buzzed with excitement, bright light decorated every corner, relatives rushed around with lists in their hand, and laughter enjoyed throughout the wall. Vine sat quietly in her room, watching her cousin dance to wedding songs. Her lehenga was already chosen, her jewelry packed, neatly in velvet box, and the date was only a few days away. By all means, she should have been the happiest bride to be, but her heart felt strangely heavy. Every time her fiancé spoke to her with affection, she smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. He was kind, gentle, safe, yet something inside her longed for more, something deeper, something unexplainable. And in the shadow, Jungkook was watching. He had already bought the entire hotel opposite her house for a week under a fake name from the top floor. His binoculars gave him a clear view of her balcony, her room, her laughter. Every night he sat there like a predator, silent and patient. His man reported every detail, what she wore, what she ate, where she went. He didn't miss a single thing. One evening, Bayan went to the market with her mother. She smiled. She bargained with the shopkeeper for bangles. Jungkook, hidden under a cap and mask, stood only a few feet away watching when she offered her feet in the rickshaw to an old woman and chose to walk home instead. His heart clenched. She doesn't belong in this ordinary world, he thought, his eyes dark with desire. She is a queen, my queen. Meanwhile, Taeyong noticed her distract Murvayan. He said softly while they are sitting together at a family dinner, "Are you happy with this marriage?" Her folk paused midway. She looked at him, started. "Of course," she replied quickly, forcing a smile, but deep down she was not sure if she was lying to him or to herself. That night, Jungkook sat in his penthouse with files scattered on the table. Government official had given him another task, tracing down a dangerous arms dealer. He was their secret weapon, their underworld king who worked in shadow. But tonight he ignored all of it. He poured himself a drink, staring at the glowing city light. The thought of her marrying someone else gone at him like a poison. His lips curled into a dangerous smirk as he whispered to himself, "They are preparing for wedding, but I am preparing for war." For Jungkook, there was no turning back. The bride everyone was waiting for would never make it to the altar. Time skip. The night before the wedding was supposed to be magical. While sitting in her room, the soft glow of fairy light dancing on her face, her cousin had just left after teasing her about the last night as a single girl. The house was filled with chatter and music, but her room felt strangely quiet. She pressed her hand over the bridal lehenga hanging on the cupboard. Tomorrow she would wear it. Tomorrow her life would change. But why did her heart feel so unsettled? Taeyong had called her earlier, his voice filled with warmth. "Just one more day, Vayan. After that, you will always be my side." She had smiled, but the unease inside her only grew stronger. Outside, the street was dark. The faint sound of a car engine poured in the distance, unnoticed by anyone inside the busy house. John Jungkook stepped out dressed in a black, his eyes glowed with determination, his lips pressed into a cold line. For days he had waited, watched, and blurred in silence. Tonight was the end of his patience. "She won't marry him," he muttered to himself as he signaled his man. "She was never his to begin with." The clock struck midnight. Vian had just closed her diary when she heard a faint creak at her window. She muttered, started only to see a tall figure stepping inside, his presence filling the room like a storm. "Who?" Her voice caught in her throat as her eyes widened. John Jungkook, her idol, her bias, the man she had only seen on poster, on screen, now stood before her, real, intense, and terrifying close. Her heart raced. "Jungkook, what are you doing here?" He didn't answer at first. His dark eyes scanned her face, drinking her in as thought she were the only thing that mattered in the world. Then, in a low voice, he said, "You don't belong here, Ryan. Not with him, not in this life. You belong to me." Before she could process his words, he grabbed her waist, pulling her towards him. She struggled, panic, folding her vein. "Let me go." "What are you doing? This is insane." He leaned close, his voice sharp but laced with obsession. "Insane, yes, for you." In a swift motion, Jungkook pressed a handkerchief against her mouth. The scent made her dizzy, her throat fading into weak murmurs. The last thing she saw before her world went dark was his face, intense, unshaken, filled with madness. By the time her family knocked on the door the next morning, the bride-to-be was gone, and on the table single note was left behind, written in blood stroke: "She was never yours, she is mine."